Good evening. This is the second round of the Campionato Italiano Giovanile di Debate in English. And today, two teams will debate on the motion. This House would abolish the ethical tax for sex workers in the porn industry. Info slide. In Italy, the so-called ethical tax is a 25% surcharge added on top of ordinary income tax, applied to earnings derived from the production or sale of pornographic content. Sorry. I invite the proposition team, Da Vinci debaters, to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Majar, and I'm the first speaker of opposition team. My speech will start in
No. I want Ajar. I'm inviting you to introduce yourself as a team so that you can, all the team, I mean, all the members of the team, sorry. So second speaker of the proposition team.
I will be the second speaker of the proposition team, Fabio Carnesecca, and I will also do the reply.
Good. Third speaker, please.
And I'm Francini Camilla, and I will be the third speaker.
Thank you. Now the opposition team, please introduce yourself. First speaker.
I am the first speaker of the opposition team, and I'm going to be the first speaker.
Good. Second speaker, please.
I'm Sara, and I'm the second speaker of opposition team, and I also do the reply speech.
Thank you. Third speaker.
Hi, I'm Alessia, and I'm the third speaker of the opposition team.
Now the judges will introduce themselves, please. My colleagues.
Hello, my name is Amanda Forster, and I'll be one of the judges today.
Good evening, I'm Letizia Bellello, and I'm going to be one of the judges.
And I am the coordinator. My name is Carla Langella. So I think we can start. I invite the first speaker of the proposition team to take the field, please.
My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Hello, debaters. Hello, judges. Today's motion is this House will abolish the ethical tax for sex workers in the porn industry. We are going to discuss this motion as the proposition team, and we are going to bring 3 arguments. In the first 2 are brought by me, and the third one is brought by the second speaker. In the first argument, we are going to discuss why we shouldn't tax pornography, and in the second one, we are going to explain how this tax creates taboos and on sex and increments prejudice. So, in the name of a world in which free will and sexual freedom is granted, we have to abolish the ethical tax. The ethical tax is 25% surcharge added on top of ordinary income tax applied to earnings derived from the production or sale of pornographic content. We believe that pornography is a normal job. It is a job which doesn't bring deliberately harm to the individual. We think that that pornography is an ethical job. We first have to make a distinction between ethical and unethical job. An ethical job is a job that deliberately harms people, for example, the weapon industry, which is really different from the porn industry because the citizens are called to participate, for example, in wars, and the people have to, while in the porn industry, the individual is the one that actually can choose if he wants to or doesn't want to watch it. So, while ethical job is a job that doesn't deliberately harms people, so we believe that pornography is should be recognized as a job, and since we start to recognize pornography as an ethical job, we shouldn't tax it because no, thank you. We shouldn't put an ethical tax on an ethical job just because it's we think that maybe that's not really not an important job, and that will start creating really that starts to be we start to make distinctions between pornography and other normal jobs. We also, just like we said before, yes.
So, if you said that pornography is an ethical job by itself, can you explain why the industry still produces so many non-consensual videos, stolen content, and paid workers?
Well, we are not speaking on the basis of like legal or illegal. We are speaking more of like more of the content instead of the way it is posted on the platforms. We are speaking more of the content. We are speaking. We are saying that the content of pornography is and the sex workers that work in this industry are working in an ethical job. Also, many times pornography content is posted on platforms with consent or also with without being illegal many times. Also, we want to say how this tax creates taboos and on sex and increment prejudice, because and this brings just disadvantages to who consume this content and who produce this content. If we start putting a tax on this industry, on the pornographic industry, we are basically saying that this is a negative job. And also, we are restricting the free will of people by saying, oh, since we live in a world where free will and sexual freedom is granted, we are basically putting a restriction on the free will and sexual freedom, and the word free will and sexual freedom becomes, let's say, a hypocrite term, and so when the government starts to put taxes on pornography, people that sex workers that work in this industry will start thinking that they are working in an industry that's first of all isn't seen as it's seen as a really bad industry, and it's seen as a way to eliminate this industry. Also, people that consume the content of pornography will start thinking when they knowing that the sex workers that work in there are being taxed. They will start knowing. They will start feeling a little bit inferior. They will, especially in a world where sexual freedom is granted and free will is granted. So, we believe that this ethical tax shouldn't be imposed on pornography, because first of all, it makes pornography look as an unethical job, which in reality it's not, because porn is not an industry that wants to deliberately harm people, but it depends on the individual. And it's also if we start putting this tax on if this tax needs to be paid by the sex workers, then the people that's working there will start thinking that they, first of all, that means that porn is an unethical job. They will think that they don't have free will, because this tax restricts their free will and sexual freedom. And this is not what today's world, today's generation wants to do, because the aim of today's generation is to grant free will and sexual freedom. And by putting this tax, people will start thinking, sex workers and also the people that consume this content.
We are really about 10 minutes. So
okay.
you do not have a timer? So your speech lasted 9 minutes 50. Thank you. The judges are okay. So we can invite the first speaker of the opposition team, Alessandro, to give you a speech. Do you have a timer, Alessandro?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Okay, so my speech is going to start in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm the first speaker of the opposition team, and today's debate motion says that this House would abolish the ethical tax for sex work in the porn industry. But before starting our team line, let's let's define some terms. In fact, with the word abolish, we mean the elimination of this ethical tax, and with sex worker, we mean people who receive money from a pornographic activity that could be selling or producing porn content. With the porn industry, we mean an industry that actually sells images or videos with illicit activity. So before starting, I want to say something to the about the first proposition speaker speech, because the proposition team says that the war industry is harmful, while the pornography one is not. But this is not true. Pornography also has real negative effects. It can harm people emotionally, as we are going to see later with my speech. It can encourage unhealthy ideas about sex, and it can expose unhealthy idea, and it can expose vulnerable people to exploitation. So if the government believes that war industry needs limit because it is harmful, then pornography also does have limits because it also creates risk and damage in society. So let's go on presenting our team line. The first thesis I'm going to present is that the text is an instrument of protection, not of punishment. The second thesis that my teammate Sarah is going to say that eliminating the tax creates a dangerous vacuum, and Sarah is also going to say that the tax creates transparency and reducing exploitation. But what I mean with the tax is an instrument of protection, not of punishment. Firstly, we have to say what is an ethical tax. The ethical tax, as the info says, is a 25% tax that add a 25% of payment to of whatever the porn industry is going to receive from the selling of the images and the videos. And with the ethic, we mean we want to give a definition that want to protect workers and prevent the exploitation of the labor of these workers. But with the protection, we want to protection also the people who sees this content, for example, the minors, but that's not something we want to focus to, because minors can't legally see action that represented in porn videos. But if in some way this action that could be the violence or also the incest that is often seen in this video, if they will ever reach the public of younger people, they could harm the vision of the world and the vision of what sex mean to these younger people. But that's not the only thing that we want to protect. We want to protect also the people who work in this industry, because adding taxes to pay to these people, with adding these taxes, we could prevent maybe the workers or also the exploitation of labor that this could cause. So what we want to say? We want to say that this tax is right and should remain. This 25% of taxes to pay should be here, and we should not abolish it, because it will create less it will create less control of what is this industry, and would create more problems. So summing up what we said. We said that the opposition team, the proposition team, said something wrong and said that the pornography industry doesn't harm people, but it is, as I said. And also I start analyzing the three theses that we are going to tell you, that are that the tax is an instrument of protection, not of punishment, that eliminating the tax creates a dangerous vacuum, and also that the tax creates transparency and reduce exploitation. So with that, my speech is over.
Okay. Thank you for your speech. It lasted 5 minutes, 49 seconds. Good. Now, I invite Fabio, the second speaker of the proposition team, to take the floor.
Yes, just a second. I set my timer, and then we'll start.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. My speech is going to start in 3, 2, 1. So first of all, I would like to make a defense of my first speaker, of the first speaker of my team, Ajar. Firstly, about the POI she was asked about. The matter of the POI was about the illegal content that can be shared. But illegal contents are, for the definition, as a matter of fact, illegals, which means that, first of all, is not our matter, it is not our goal to provide for this problem. This is something that the law should deal with. And second of all, the illegal things happens in every other job. But as I said, those illegal things have to be dealt by law, not by us talking about this motion. I don't think that opposition team is aware of a thing which is pretty important for how they built their first argument, which is which regarded protection of viewers. As an example of viewers, they talked about minors, so under 18 people. But we all know that minors are not allowed to watch porn legally. So this means that this specific part of viewers they talked about, and they talked a lot about it, are not actually allowed to see porn. So this is something that does not affect our case. As for the rest of the viewers, so over 18, it, just like everything that we have in our hands, depends on the very use that we make out of it. For example, we can make a bad use of everything, of every platform, of every instrument in our possessions. But this is something that a person, an over 18 person, as are we talking about, should deal with. And this is an example of free will. This is a choice. As for the matter of viewers, I'm going to talk about the second argument of my team, on the third argument of my team, I'm sorry, whose title is Pornography is Fiction, as my first speaker said. So pornography is fiction.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, you said that if illegal, but my question is, if illegal content exists in every job, as you said, and must be handled by the law, then why do you want to remove the only tax that forces platforms to follow the law and declare their income and verify their content?
Pornography content are legal by themselves. What it is not legal, so as you asked in the first POI to my first speaker, the illegal ones are content shared without the approval of the person we are talking about. But pornography is legal. As a matter of fact, as over 18 person, we can legally see it. So as I was saying, I am going to introduce the third argument of my team, which is pornography is fiction. This argument is based on a comparison. The comparison I'd like to talk about is the comparison between films and pornographic films. They talked in their argument about the protection of the viewers. Well, what do we have to be protected from in pornography more than we have to be protected in every other film? Films who talk about wars, for example, Tyler Rake, whose main actor is Chris Hemsworth. I don't know if you know about him, but there are plenty of films about wars. There are plenty of films who spread the principle of violence and bad principles. Some films even have brutal scenes in which they can spread violence in many different ways. So I don't think that if for films it is there isn't a tax, I don't understand why we should tax a different film, which is pornography, because there is a prejudice in this kind of film. But the actors on pornography are actors just like in every other job, just like in every, just like everybody. Sorry. Actors in pornography are actors just like every other actors. There is not a difference. Yes, please.
But do you know that we are not taxing actors, but the platforms?
1 second, please. We are taxing, yes, we are taxing the motion sites. This house will abolish the ethical tax for sex workers in the porn industry, which means that the tax is applied for sex workers in the porn industry. So as I was saying, to resume what my third argument was, is that the protection of viewers should exist on every other kind of film. But since this is something that does not exist for common films, this should not exist for pornography content. So I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. It lasted 6 minutes, 37 seconds. Okay, so I invite the second speaker of the opposition team, Sara, to take the field, please.
One moment, I have to reorganize my speech.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. I put my timer. Okay. Yes, my speech will start in the 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sara Cetera. I'm the second speaker of the opposition team. And today, as the second speaker of the opposition team, I will start by arguing what were the two speeches of the respective first and second speaker of the proposition team. But before I start my confutation, I wanna recite a quote from the third article of the Italian Constitution. The third article of the Italian Constitution says that the state must remove the obstacles that limit people's dignity, safety, and equality. So this is exactly why we think that the ethical tax should not be abolished. Because if the state removes it without creating another system, and that system has not been presented by the proposition team, it creates a dangerous gap where workers lose protection and platforms gain even more power. So today we talked about this tax, and this tax I want to say that is the only tool that allows the state to see how much money the porn industry really makes, follow the money that goes through big digital platforms, and check suspicious or non-consensual content that are present in this world, because the pro team says that never talked about the illegal things and non-consensual content that are present in this world. And I think that those things are the main problem of that word. So also that tax support health and legal service for workers. So the opposition team says that workers will be limited by this tax, but it is not true, because this tax will support health and legal service for workers, and it will keep a minimum level of rules in a very fast and risky market, because that market does not talk only about films, because the opposition team talks that says that it is only focused on films, but it is not true, and they also didn't say how and when those films comes in non-consensual content. So this tax will keep a minimum level of rules in a very fast and risky market. So also the opposition team says that pornography is legal, so it shouldn't be taxed more. And yes, we said that pornography is legal, but legality does not mean no regulation or no additional taxes, because let's think about the alcohol, the tobacco, or other substances that are legal but heavily taxed, just like this word of sexuality, sex workers. So these sectors are taxed more, not because they are immoral. They talked about immorality, but morality about workers, but the motion didn't talk about that. It is focused on a political way of how this tax limit abuse. So porn industry, it is also high risk, because content can be stolen, consent can be unclear, minors can bypass filters, and also platform profits from unverified uploads. So the logical is simple, because being legal does not protect you from regulation, but being risky requires additional regulation. Also, as I said, the opposition teams said that they are talking about films, real pornography movements, but as I said, this argument is completely disconnected from the reality, because traditional porn films represents only a tiny part of that today industry, because the real market is digital. There are platforms, there are user uploads, non-consensual content, revenge porn, subscription-based sites, stolen videos, algorithm-based monetization. So not only film. Because if they are talking about film, they are ignoring the 95% of the sector. Also, they said that illegal things happened everywhere and should be handled by law enforcement. But this is logically inconsistent, because if illegal things happened everywhere, then the states needs tools to detect them. And I posed the question to the team, but they weren't able to respond to me, because the ethical tax is one of those tools that detect those illegal things. Because when, as I said, when we pay a tax, when the platform pay the tax, you must declare revenues, you must track, the state track your money, the state verify your content, it keep the documentation and open themselves to inspection. So without the tax, the state loses visibility and the law enforcement cannot act if the actors become invisible. So so they said also that everything depends on how people use platform, but this has nothing to do with the motion. And they also said that sex work is a normal job, so taxing is more unfair, but the law is not on sex workers, because sex workers are paid normally. They have a normal tax like everyone. This ethical tax applies only to platforms, production companies, distribution, and people who monetize content on the scale. So, as I said, this tax creates transparency and reduce exploitation, because the main problem is not the sex worker, but the platforms that make those huge profits. And also, I want to say that this removing the tax creates a dangerous vacuum, because today the ethical tax is the only physical instrument that allows the states to track the revenues of the pornography industry, verify the financial flows to digital platforms, and monitor suspicious or non-consensual content. So this is where constitutional principles come into play. And this is why we think that this tax should absolutely not be abolished for preventing the workers. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you for your speech. It lasted 8 minutes, 32 seconds. So I invite the third speaker of the proposition team to take the field. Please, Camilla.
Yes, just a second.
Please.
Okay, so sorry. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I would like to begin in clarifying a thing that is also said by the motion of today. The tax that we are talking about is on the actors. Anywhere in the motion does not talk about platforms. It says just that the tax is applied on the actors. So I think that the opposition team is not very had not this very clear. Then I would like to pass clarify also some other things about the computation of the other team. So the second speaker of the opposition team said that this tax will not harm the sex workers because instead it will prevent. It will support health and it will bring exploitation in minimum level. But what we were going to say is that this tax is going to harm sex workers because they limit their free will, because they can do what they want just in apparently, but they are at the same time suggested to not do it by this tax. So it's because of this mechanism that the free will of the single sex worker is harmed. Then the other speaker of the second speaker. Yes.
So if you claim that the tax affects actors, can you explain where the law says that the tax is paid by workers and not by companies and platforms? Thank you.
Sorry, it is said by the motion that the tax is applied to the actors. So for this, I said that. Then the second speaker of the opposition team also said that the example with the films does not work because we have also film where there are sex scenes, but it is shown just a small part. But this is not what we were talking about. In fact, the second speaker of my team said that in films are often shown also scenes of very cruel violence, of very cruel fights, and this is obviously unethical, but the actors that work on the sets of the films don't have to pay a tax for it. So this is why we wanted to make an example between films and pornography. They are both entertainment, and it becomes dangerous just after the wrong use that you do of it. Then I would like to confutate another thing that the other team said. I think that it is not very clear how a tax would limit the abuse in this work, because, like, for example, YouTube is a platform where you can post public your content. And it is also a platform that controls the content that you publish. And if your content is going against the rules, the normative, then you are banned from the platform, or your video is going to become not. So you cannot watch it anymore. So with this, I'm trying to say that YouTube can control the contents and limit the non-consensual and the non-consensual contents by controlling it, but not improving taxes on the people that publish the content. So for this reason, I think that it is not logic to say that taxes directly limit the abuse, because there are platforms that can limit contents also without implementing taxes on the people that use it. Then I can try to say again that we are speaking about when this job is legal. So the protection of workers is guaranteed by the law. And for this reason, this tax will not make a difference on protecting workers, because the protection of them should be granted by the law anyway. And because this will not just work on this field, but this will work also in many other works. So, like, we don't need a tax for this, because it happens in many other works. When the safety of the play of the workers is not assured, it becomes illegal. But we don't need a tax to prove it, or to to prove it, or to find and to find the people that are illegal. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't have to implement a tax, because it works like this in many other fields that don't have to implement a tax on workers. Legally, and the safety should be assured in every field of work. And I'm done.
Thank you. Your speech lasted 8 minutes. So, thank you for your speech, Camilla. I invite Alessia Mari to take the field, the third speaker of the opposition team.
Okay, I'm ready. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alessia, and I'm the third speaker of the opposition team. And before I start my speech, I want to say something about what the proposition team said. They said that the pornography isn't harmful, and I want to say something about it. We know that there are free sites that even minors without verified accounts can access without any problems. And we know that in these free sites, there are many videos with the paid actor. So we are still talking about sex workers, because the proposition team also talked about sex workers. And we know that the minors without verified accounts can have access to these sites and see this content, this type of content. So they can view a real, they can real sex. They can see this. So I want to say also something about this comparison between films and pornography, because in the films there is a fake sex act. But in the pornography, all we see is not fake, is real. And so they say that the pornography isn't harmful, but the pornography is promoting harmful acts such as violence. You can see also videos that they are recreating some scenes that aren't respecting the liberty of the person, abuse, discrimination, and recreation of acts that violate a person's will. And this is what really wants to promote this is what we want to teach person. Yes, we can say that many films are talking about violent arguments, but in the pornography, in the video photos that are talking about real sex acts, we see something that is real. There is real violence in many videos. There is a real discrimination of person in many of this content. And also they were saying that this comparison between war and the pornography, film and pornography, they talked about the war. Yes, we know that war is something that is promoting hate, is promoting violence, but is the pornography also doing it? Because the proposition team said that the pornography is ethical, but war is not. But how can something that is indirectly promoting violence be ethical? If someone, like also adult person, seeing a pornographic video, is seeing a pornographic video with a violent content, a video that is discriminating a person, how can it be ethical? And we are just spreading hate everywhere then with the pornography. So how can the government promote this? It is the reason that we think that this tax should exist. We think that this tax is right because the government must think about the safety of a person, the safety of a minor. However, we also know that films are fictional and porn videos are only partially so. So the sexual act is, and in pornography, is real. And so the consequences of it are real. For example, the violence, as I said before. That's the difference. A film can be violent, yes, of course, but it's fictional. Everything we are saying, it's not real. It's something that shows that, yes, violence is something that is present in our world, but is not promoting it physically like it's doing a pornographic video. And the state has the duty to think about the well-being of the citizen, so it cannot promote something really violent, something that is real. And I want to... Yes?
Yes, so you write that pornography is fiction, just like films. I want to clarify that. Pornography is fiction, just like...
No, I wanted to say that film are fictional, pornography is not.
Okay.
I correct myself, I'm saying that films are fictional because aren't real, and pornography is not, is something real. I want to also say something about what the proposition team said. The third speaker talked about YouTube, and YouTube is not a platform that can contain pornographic videos. You said that YouTube doesn't consent the publishment of a video that doesn't respect the what YouTube imposed to these videos. And you said that these videos are not taxed like a pornographic video. But if the video published by YouTube is not online, how can the government tax something that is not online? It's been eliminated by the platform. And also I want to say that, as I said before, the videos that are published on YouTube are not like videos published on pornographic sites. Because on YouTube, we can see videos that are normal, and on free sites that contains pornographic content, we can see the real sexual act. And also the proposition team said that then this tax would be that many other jobs need this tax, because there is then with this tax the government would do a difference of this work, and this is going to harm sex worker, but they didn't say what type of job. If there is no difference with pornographic job, with sex workers and many other type of job, what are these jobs. They didn't say that. And also, my teammate said previously, they have explained why we believe that that this tax must exist. This tax is a protective tool that is limiting those not intended to view, like the minors, as I said before, to see this content. Yes, so we can say that there is a ban, but we also know that any type of minor without a verified account can see this type of video on. Yes.
Sorry, but how can a tax applied on a worker limit the abuse of the one who use the platform?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
How the tax that is applied on the worker can limit the abuse on the people that use the platform to entertainment?
Okay, I will answer this by talking what my teammates previously said, and I was saying yes, these there is a ban from the minors, but we can also say that they can see this content on free sites without a verified account. So I will say that this is not abusing sex armor, because they, with this tax, can still do their jobs. This is not limiting their job. They can still doing what they are doing, but there is a limit for this. And we also believe that eliminating this tax is will be more harmful, because this could limit the harm mentioned above and does not do a favor a production that will be illegal. So if we eliminate something, there will be an illegal production of it. But with this, there is a limit, a control. So the government is controlling something and is also protecting the safety of the people. And this is the end of my speech.
Thank you. Your speech lasted 8 minutes, 30 seconds. So we are over with constructive intervention. And about the reply, so Sara Cetera for the opposition and Fabio
Yes.
Carnesecca, sorry, for the proposition. So I invite Sara to give your speech.
Yes, my reply speech will start in 3, 2, 1. So, Article 3 of the Italian Constitution says that the state must remove the obstacles that limit people's dignity and equality. And this motion matters today for a simple reason. We live in a digital world where content spreads faster than laws, where platforms grow faster than rules, and where vulnerability grows faster than protection. The porn industry is no longer made of studio films. It is almost entirely online, a space where content can be unclear, where content can be stolen, where minors can bypass filters, and where workers often have fewer protection than the platforms that monetize their body. So the proposition burden was to, and that's is the exactly idea we defended today. We are not have to moralize sexuality, but we are here to show that removing the ethical tax without building another system creates a dangerous space with no visibility, no control, and no protection. So the proposition burden was to prove that this tax harms sex workers and limits their freedom. But through this debate, they argued using false assumption. They talked about films instead of platforms, about actors instead of companies, and about personal choices instead of public safety. Our burden instead was clear because we showed that this tax protects workers by regulating platforms and creating transparency, and we have fulfilled that burden consistently. So we proved that our team showed three essential points. The first one is that removing the tax creates a legal and safety vacuum. The second one is that the Constitution requires protection, not deregulation. And the third one is that the tax gives the states the only tool to see, trace, and control in a high-risk digital market. So this is the heart of our case, and none of those points were successfully challenged by the proposition. Now I want to go through the point of clash that emerges from this debate. The first one is that porn is legal, so it shouldn't be taxed. The proposition repeated again and again, pornography is legal, so why tax it more? But we explained clearly that legality does not cancel risk. Alcohol is legal, tobacco is legal, all of them are taxed more because they involve health risk, social risk, and safety risk. So the porn industry also involves risk, consent, identity exposure, minors bypassing filters, stolen contents, and digital permanence. So the proposition never answered this point. They never explained why a high-risk industry should be left with zero additional regulation. So this clash is entirely on our side. And now I want to talk about the so what are the two words that emerge from this debate? Because our proposition side, on the proposition side, we see a word with no visibility, where platforms keeps everything hidden, where illegal content spreads easily, where health protection disappears, and where workers are left alone in an opaque market. A world where freedom means no rule and no safeguards, but our side, the opposition sides, we defend a world where the state sees what happened, where platforms must be transparent, where consent is verified, where illegal content becomes risky to monetize, and where sex workers gain dignity, safety, and real protection. This is a world of punishment. This is not a word of punishment. It is a word of responsibility. So now, honorable judges, ask yourself, do you want a world where only powerful actors are the platforms, hidden, unregulated, and free to profit from anything, or a world where the state protects workers, demand transparency, and ensure that digital intimacy is handled with responsibility? For all these reasons, we are proud to stand our position and proud to defend a world where protection and freedom go together, not against each other. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you for your intervention. It lasted 5 minutes and 3 seconds. Now is the turn of the last intervention, the reply speech by the proposition team. Fabio, I invite you to take the field.
Yes, I'm ready when the judges are ready.
We are. Go.
Okay, perfect. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Misunderstandings. This is the word I want to start from to explain what happened in this debate. There has been a huge, more than one huge misunderstanding by the opposition side. Number one, the tax, as the motion says, this House will abolish the ethical tax for sex workers. I would like to underline that. The tax is applied on actors, not on the platforms. So this is the first misunderstanding. The second misunderstanding that I found is the one about minor. Opposition team is the team that brought the word minor up. They brought it up, but this is not one of our duties to make sure that minor do not have access to pornography content. This is something that the proper authorities should deal with. This is not our duty to talk about. And another point I found in which there was a big misunderstanding is about the meaning of ethical tax. They did not explain very well what ethical tax is. In fact, an ethical tax, by definition, is applied on actors because their job is not considered ethical. But during our three speeches, we demonstrated that pornography and pornography content is just as ethical as films, for example. Another big misunderstanding and mistake I think I can say about from the opposition side is what they seem not to understand is that pornography is fiction. I would like to underline that pornography is fiction, just as other films. The pornography is made by porn videos, porn films, but they are still films. They do not spread violence and those bad values more than films. In fact, about the illegal term, which opposition team also brought up, there is nothing illegal in making those content. In fact, another time, it is not our duty to verify which content is legal and which content is not legal. This is the duty of the responsible authorities. Our only duty is to discuss on the ethical tax. So I would like to underline that because it is important for how the debate went and where it went. So since pornography is fiction, it spreads discrimination and hate, yes, but just as much as other film, just as much as the canonical film production. So I think that the word misunderstanding actually make a good resume of what happened in this debate, because I think that the opposition team kept talking about pointless points, whether points that it is not our duty to discuss about, or whether points that do not regard our cause. For example, stolen content. This is another point in which it is not our duty to talk about. And for all of those reasons, and for the reason that we brought our argument based on the very motion instead of taking other arguments on something that was not our duty to talk about, I'm proud to be on proposition side, and I think we clearly won this debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your reply. It lasted 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Well, the debate is over. I want to thank you all for it, and I invite all of us participating to upload. Okay, now let me interrupt the okay, good.